So, yeah, so now there's a summary of coincidences involving Trump's birthday. Yeah, alright, so let's now summarize the key aspects of the coincidences involving Donald Trump's birthday. So the first one, Donald John Trump was born during a blood moon on June 14th, 1946 at Jamaica Hospital Medical Center in Queens, New York City, USA. And June 14-1946, you can rearrange this as 614-1946, and you can add these up, 6 plus 14 plus 1946 is 1966. And rotate the 6, remove the 1, you get a 6. Alright, that's interesting. Anyway, so Queens is right next to Manhattan, where the World Trade Center is located. And in 2004, Trump proposed building Twin Towers 2 to replace the old dustified Twin Towers. And the blood moon or total lunar eclipse occurs when the moon is in the Earth's umbra or darker region. Yeah, or darker region shadow there, the darker shadow, and gives a reddish appearance as Earth's atmosphere scatters blue light. Alright, and here's a image of the full moon on Trump's birthday. Is the blood moon there, and it hits the center there, so it's a central lunar eclipse. It just nicks the center right there. That's very interesting stuff. That's the umbra. And going further, so this is just how blood moons appear red. So as the bluish high frequency light gets scattered by the atmosphere, and then you'll have the lower frequency red light, more of it goes through, so you'll have this reddish appearance in the shadow there. And also here's Trump proposing the building the Twin Towers 2. Yes, which is quite fascinating to think about. So he's always involved in 9/11, Manhattan, World Trade Center, and full moons. Anyways, going further, the next coincidence was on the serial killer from Friday the 13th movie series, was born on June 14th, 1946, question marks. The famous serial killer from the Friday the 13th movie series, Jason Voorhees, is supposedly born on Friday, June 13th, 1946. The actual calendar has Friday as June 14th, 1946, which is Trump's birthday, and the original 1980 movie has lots of full moon imagery, so yes, and this was the full moon right there. So possibly they were alluding to that. And the casting and filming of the movie was either done in New York City or very nearby in New Jersey. And the birthday, and also the movie set was in New Jersey as well. And the birthday, June 13th, 1946, was supposedly picked in the 8th movie in the series, and the 8th movie being Jason, quote, Jason Takes Manhattan in 1989. And here I just added a note right here, and the casting was also very nearby in New Jersey, as is the setting of the movie in Crystal Lake, New Jersey. All right, going further, so note that Trump has a let's see this, Trump has a $100 million+ penthouse in his Trump Tower in Manhattan. So it's safe to say both Trump and Jason took Manhattan. So here is the movie scene. The movie poster of the original, it's Friday the 13th, and you literally have a killer right here with a moon, like moon in the person, and there's blood dripping from this knife. So in other words, you got a blood moon killer, June 13th, when it's supposed to be June 14th, 1946. So in other words, Trump's birthday. And then you'll have Friday the 13th, where it was stated it was June 13th, 1946. And this is Jason Takes Manhattan, Friday the 13th. There's the World Trade Center Twin Towers, and there's a alien-looking figure with some UFOs on top. So yes, very foreshadowing, in my opinion. Very interesting. Now, the next one was, we went over Aleister Crowley. He writes a letter about the Moonchild on June 14th, 1946. So Crowley, whom was an infamous occultist, wrote the letter to his student Grady Lewis McMurtry and included criticism of NASA pioneer Jack Parsons and Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard's undertaking of producing a, quote, Moonchild, or Moonchild with a space. Yeah, which the spelling is varies depending on where you read it from. So according to Crowley's Thelma religion, the Moonchild is a supposed magical being produced by impregnating a woman with the spirit of the goddess Babylon to produce a reincarnation of Babylon to help/save humanity, and all through the use of bizarre sex magic rituals. LOL, so yes, it's pretty ridiculous. From January to March 1946, Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard undertook these sex magic rituals in Pasadena, California, in what is referred to as, quote, Babylon working. Furthering the moon theme, Jack Parsons has a crater named after him on the moon. And interestingly, Ron Hubbard looks like Donald Trump. Both have similar outlandish characters, And many Scientologists surprisingly voted for Trump in the 2016 presidential election. So here's the letter right here from Aleister Crowley, and there's the Moonchild line there. And again, this is June 14th, 1946, Trump's birthday, on a blood moon. So Aleister Crowley's a occultist. He knows what he's doing when he's writing letters, including Moonchild, in my opinion. And so there's Aleister Crowley's book, Moonchild. There's a blonde-haired kid, either it looks like guy or girl, and there's Moonchild, and there's a bunch of Zodiac stuff, and the chilling novel of a magical possession of the century's most notorious occultist. This is a novel by Aleister Crowley, a fictional one, but includes a lot of themes that from real life, from his life and his rituals included in there, such as producing this Moonchild to save humanity. And there's Donald Trump as the L. Ron Hubbard of politics. This is a 2016 article before he got elected, and they look very, very identical. Ron Hubbard, Scientology founder. Trump, MAGA founder. All right, very fascinating stuff. All right, continuing further, we have a Strange Angel TV series. The fourth one, this is also part of the Moonchild, part 3 coincidence. So a TV series about Jack Parsons released on Thursday, June 14th, 2018. Again, on Trump's presidency, his first year. So Strange Angel, The Otherworldly Life of John Whiteside Parsons, or Jack Parsons, is a biographical series on Jack Parsons' life, and just so happens to be released on Trump's birthday, and while Trump is president of the United States. Yeah, so out of all the time, they had to release it just then, like literally, on his birthday. The TV series had just 2 seasons, with the second season premiering on Thursday, June 13, 2019. And then Trump would lose the 2020 election. So the very first scene of the TV series on June 14, 2018 was a blood moon, which is absolutely mind-boggling. So these people know what they're doing. Recap on the timing of the Moonchild-related events. So January to March 1946, you have Jack Parsons and Ron Hubbard undergo sex magic rituals to produce a Moonchild. June 14, 1946, Aleister Crowley, remember, he's an infamous occultist, supposed to be the biggest occultist in the world. So he's writing a letter on the blood moon, and he's discussing Jack and Ron's attempts at producing a Moonchild. And then 2016, Trump wins election. 2017, Trump is sworn in as president. Then Thursday, June 14, 2018, Strange Angels released about Jack Parsons. Thursday, June 13, 2018, second and final season of Strange Angel is released. And then Trump loses the U.S. election. So, okay, so if there's another Strange Angel coming out, you know Trump's winning. So in 2006, the documentary Jack Parsons, Jet-Propelled Antichrist was released. It includes a quote from Jack to Aleister Crowley foreshadowing his death in a supposed home laboratory explosion in June 17th, or on June 17th. On June 17th, 1952, and written several years before his death. And this is a very interesting quote from Jack Parsons to Aleister Crowley. So he wrote, "Babylon is incarnate on the earth today, awaiting the proper hour of her manifestation. And in that day my work will be accomplished, and I will be blown away upon the breath of the fire." So yes, safe to say Babylon is here. And there's the Strange Angel TV series. There's Jack Parsons, and yes, and there's possibly Ron Hubbard. I'm not sure. I didn't see it. But yes, and there's possibly the Moonchild lady that he's trying to get the Moonchild from. But again, I'll have to see to confirm. But that's Jack Parsons. Anyways, and there's the first scene of the first episode on Trump's birthday in the first, well, in his presidency, in his first presidency. And there's a full moon, blood moon. Absolutely ridiculous. And then a few scenes, just a few seconds later, they mention the word beasts, which is interesting. Anyway, so Jack Parsons, Jet-Propelled Antichrist. This is another documentary. This is earlier than it, and this is where the quote from the Babylon is incarnate quote comes from, and where he predicts his, or foreshadows his death. It's very fascinating. There's Jack Parsons with the mustache, rockets, and you got the Moonchild lady, and there's the Babylon possibly. or something like that. Anyways, fascinating stuff. So, and also Jack Parsons considered himself Antichrist for a short time, or for a while. Yeah, so that's just again the mind of the occultist. Going further, so the fifth coincidence: United States Flag Day and U.S. Army Birthday are both on June 14th, and the flag of the U.S. was adopted on June 14th, 1777. Again, and remember, this year is Trump's 77th birthday. So the U.S. Army, known as the Continental Army before the U.S. was established, before the U.S. was established as a country, was formed on June 14th, 1775. And on Flag Day, June 14th, 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower updates the Pledge of Allegiance, which is still the current version, to include, quote, "one nation under God." And he writes, "I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all." Again, updates it's on Flag Day, which is just so happens to be Trump's birthday, and you're pledging allegiance to the flag, which is again celebrated on Trump's birthday, June 14th. And there is 1917 poster about Flag Day right there. So 140th Flag Day, 1917. Interesting, 1917, yeah, that's when Aleister Crowley's novel was first written, or when he wrote his novel right here, 1917. And then it got published as a book in 1929. So that's very fascinating stuff. All right, continuing further, the sixth set of coincidences was on the Baruch plan. So June 14th, 1946, Baruch plan for UN control of all the world's nuclear weapons. And the Baruch plan was the American proposal for the control of all nuclear weapons by the United Nations. The plan was presented by Bernard Baruch, the U.S. representative to the United Nations Atomic Energy Commission, or the UNAEC, at the UNAEC's temporary headquarters in New York City's or Manhattan's Hunter College. At the time, only USA had developed an atomic bomb, and the Soviet Union declined the proposal, fearing America's nuclear monopoly would continue. And one historian quoted as saying, "The Baruch plan was the nearest approach to a world government proposal ever proposed by the United States." Very interesting. And note that, again, this was on a blood moon. Remember that. It's a blood full moon, Trump's birthday, and they're doing this. And this is all surrounding the basically World War II and Cold War and so on. And that brings us to these note the timing events surrounding the Baruch plan. So April 25th, 1945, the UN Charter drafted in San Francisco, California. And you have April 30th, 1945, Hitler dies, supposedly. You have June 25th, 1945, UN Charter is adopted. And you have July 16th, 1945, all these are 1945, year before Trump's birthday, before he was born. So July 16th, 1945, first nuclear weapon detonated and was named Trinity. August 6th, 1945, the little boy atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima, Japan. August 9th, 1945, Fat Man atomic bomb dropped on Nagasaki, Japan. And then you have September 2nd, 1945, World War II ends. And then you have June 14th, 1946, the Baruch plan is proposed. And then June 1947, the Doomsday Clock is featured on the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientist journal or whatnot. And the bulletin was founded by Albert Einstein and scientists working on the Manhattan Project, and just so happens to be called Manhattan Project, where they're developing the nuclear bombs, supposedly. And then this is all before Trump's born. And again, Manhattan, Trump, 1946, Baruch plan, world government. And then August 15th, 1947, Manhattan Project disbands after being active from 1942 to 1946 in developing the first atomic bombs. And then Trump World Tower and United Nations headquarters are both located on the United Nations, on United Nations Plaza in Manhattan. You can't make that stuff up. So he literally has a World Tower at the United Nations. And there's the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientist, and it has to be the June 1947 edition. Yeah, so June 1947, I'm not sure the exact date it was released, but wouldn't be surprised if it was June 14th or June 1st if it was the beginning of the month. And again, it starts at the 7 minute to midnight mark. So 7 minutes was pretty close to global catastrophe, and it's a number 6 issue there. And the Hunter College, where the Baruch plan was announced, was temporary headquarters of the United Nations. It was just a 20-minute bike ride from the United Nations headquarters and walking distance from Trump World Tower. So basically, or 20 minutes to the Trump World Tower, and you can just walk to either or United Nations, Trump World Tower, etc. Very, very fascinating. There's the Trump World Tower. Very interesting setup there. Looks like a obelisk, just a black tower there. And there's the United Nations headquarters. There's Trump World Tower on United Nations Plaza, and there's Empire State Building. So it's all close nearby. And then if you go west a bit more, you're going to see the World Trade Center, One World Trade Center Tower. All right. Very fascinating stuff. And then now the next set of coincidences is the Roswell Corona UFO incident. This started on June 14th, 1947, exactly a year after Trump's birthday. So the famous Roswell UFO crash incident was actually located closer to Corona, New Mexico than its namesake, Roswell, New Mexico, possibly because Roswell's more famous, and there's a Roswell military base as well in Roswell. So June 14th, 1947, and again, I put Corona just because we have COVID-19 and coronavirus, quote, pandemic and so on. Now you have Roswell Corona. Very interesting. So on June 14, 1947, farmer Mac Brazel supposedly first noticed the strange wreckage, and the U.S. Army first said it recovered a flying disc and then later changed its story saying it was a weather balloon, and many different theories have been purported as to what really happened, and the Roswell or Corona incident was among the most famous UFO sightings promoted by the mainstream media in what is termed the, quote, 1947 flying disc craze. And the Roswell or Corona crash site had been closed off since 1947 and first reopened, reopened in 2018 when Trump was president. So waited all these years, Trump's president, and then they open it up. And just before the Roswell or Corona crash site was open on June 18, 2018, Trump orders the creation of the Space Force, which was created a year later on December 20th, 2019, literally as the COVID-19 psychological operation was getting started in Wuhan, China. And some very interesting coincidences and their timings are presented below regarding Trump, Roswell, Corona, 9/11, COVID-19, and the weaponization of space. So you have it over here. So September 11th, 1941, construction of the Pentagon. The numbered Pentagon was also attacked on 9/11, or attacked or destroyed, or part of it destroyed. And then you have June 14th, 1946, Trump born on a blood moon. Then you'll have June 14th, 1947, a year later, Roswell Corona or the Corona UFO incident starts. Then you'll have the U.S. Air Force is created on September 18th, 1947. Then now we have 1968, which is a big year. So 1968 on February 16th or 2/16/1968, first 911 emergency call made by Alabama Telephone Company. And this was around the same time as the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, and AT&T agreed upon 911 for nationwide emergency calls. You have April 2nd, 1968, Stanley Kubrick and Arthur C. Clarke's movie 2001: A Space Odyssey is released. Again, the date 2001. This is all 1968. And also in 1968, August 6, 1968, World Trade Center WTC construction began. Then you have, this is November 16th, the word coronavirus was first shown in print, all 1968. And then a year later, 1969, on July 20th, the Apollo 11 alleged moon landing. So again, you have space, you have Space Force, or the Air Force created, Roswell crash all around Trump's birthday. 1968, the World Trade Center is being constructed. And then you'll have 911 emergency. You have the coronavirus shown in print, Stanley Kubrick's 2001 Space Odyssey, and then you also have the alleged moon landing happening shortly after. So yeah, it's just an interesting pattern there. Then you have over here, September 11th, 1987, President Ronald Reagan declares 911 1987 as 911 emergency number day. And then fast forward to October 26, 1999. I believe October 26 is actually Hillary Clinton's birthday, so that's interesting. So the 911 Act went into effect, which included a provision directing the FCC to make 911 the universal emergency number for all telephone systems, and it basically made this universal as opposed to just whatever agreed upon setup they had. And also, October 26th, let's go back here. So that's actually Hillary Clinton's birthday, October 26th, 1947. So so she is basically almost a year younger than Donald Trump. So it's a match made in heaven for 2024 election cycle, if that were to happen. And then, so fast forward just a few years later. So again, it's 911 Act, just before 9/11. Then you have on 2001, so January 11th, 111, 111/2001. A lot of ones there. Space Commission was formed to assess U.S. military involvement in space. And then you have a 9/11 justification of the World Trade Center and Pentagon, also Shanksville. Had some parts of that too. This is on September 11th, 2001. And then you have here, I also just hover above here so you can go on my URL there to watch my playlist on 9/11. And then you'll have, so you have 9/11, 2001. And you also have right here, 11/9, this is 2016. Yeah, 11/9, 2016, Trump announced winner of the U.S. elections. You have 9/11, 11/9. Just as Michael Moore had the movies 9/11, Fahrenheit 9/11, and he also had then he had Fahrenheit 11/9. So that's fascinating stuff there. And then this was when Trump announced winner of the U.S. election. And then so Trump's in office as president from January 20th, 2017 to January 20th, 2021. And then so while he's president, you have 2018, Trump directs DOD, the Department of Defense, to create a Space Force on June 18th, 2018. And then just a few weeks later, on around July 5th, 2018, the Roswell or Corona UFO crash site opened suddenly for the public for the first time in 71 years. So in other words, it's pushing the UFO psyop or UFO alien psyop that's about to come, in my opinion. So, and then you'll have this December 1st, 2019, COVID-19, quote, patient zero first gets symptoms. And then you'll have the Space Force created literally 19 days later. Yeah, so first day, and then 19, COVID-19, 19 days later, Space Force created on December 20th, 2019. And then 3/11/2020, COVID-19 pandemic declared, a quote, pandemic declared. Absolutely fascinating. So on March 11th, ridiculous stuff here. And there's the military right here, captures flying saucers, the headline on Ranch and Roswell. And then no details of flying discs are revealed, and later it would say it's a weather balloon. And then if you go here, so there is, if you put the coordinates given in Wikipedia, you get to this Corona Municipal Schools. And these are about 2 hours distance from Corona and Roswell, but the location of the crash site is closer to Corona. So it should have been called the Corona incident, which is very interesting. And then going further now, all right, going in the eighth coincidence we covered, the Republican Steve Scalise gets shot on June 14th, 2017. This was during Trump's first year as president, and this occurred at a congressional baseball game in Alexandria, Virginia, and 6 people were supposedly shot in total. The alleged shooter was a, quote, left-wing extremist named James Hodgkinson, and note the fake left versus right paradigm in action. Left-wing presidency equals right-wing extremism in the news. Now you have right-wing presidency, you have left-wing extremism in the news, and you'll also have some mixed in on either side. Anyway, Steve Scalise still considers that 2020 U.S. election was stolen from Trump. That's very interesting. There's Steve Scalise standing next to Donald Trump with these eagles there. Very interesting. And also the Grenfell Tower building in London, England, gets on fire on June 14, 2017. Same day he gets shot. Again, same day, same presidency year as Trump. So this was also during Trump's first year as president, and the same day as Republican Steve Scalise got shot, and the building burned for 60 hours and killed 72 people. This was supposedly the deadliest structural fire in the UK since 1988, and worst worst UK residential fire since World War II. And note the building did not turn to dust like most of the World Trade Center WTC complex did on 9/11. So yes, it's fire, and the building doesn't just disappear. All right, then now the 10th set of coincidences. So Trump reigned on June 13th, 2023, on the eve of his birthday. This was literally last month. So on the eve of Trump's 77th birthday, he gets arraigned or formally charged on a Tuesday in Miami, Florida. The criminal case is in regards to his, quote, mishandling of classified documents. And Trump is running for the 2024 U.S. election. So if he were to get arrested, would he still get to campaign and debate for the presidency while in prison? That would be absolutely ridiculous. And is Hillary Clinton coming back for one last run at becoming president? The TV ratings will be an all-time high if this all happens. That would be quite theater, so get your popcorn ready. So Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump 2024. Yep, life has become a horror movie. This was an article on New York Post, January 12th, 2022. And they included a picture with Trump and a hand coming out of nowhere. Supposedly them two. But then there's a full moon there behind Trump. So they playing into the full moon imagery of Trump there. Very, very interesting. And there's Hillary as well. Yeah, so the Moonchild Trump versus Clinton body count. What a time to be alive.